My name is Martha Kelpie, a certified sex therapist and supervisor, and I'm here today to talk about polyamory and COVID and staying connected. This advice is good for anybody in any kind of relationship, whether it be a friendship. While some of these are more explicit suggestions than most of us do with friends, but any kind of relationship needs, where there's social distancing, we need to figure out ways to stay connected, and that's what I want to talk about today. My specific focus on polyamorous relationships is specifically because people in non-traditional relationships have a harder time. They can't talk to just everybody about their relationship and about their relational struggles. And they have the same relational struggles that everybody else does, except usually more so because there are more people involved. So my heart has a special place for people who are struggling in polyamorous relationships, socially distanced from one or more partners, and trying to figure out ways to stay connected. And that is specifically who I made this video for. So here are some ideas about how you might stay connected with a partner that you've decided to be socially distanced from in order to keep yourself, them, or someone you live with, or someone they live with safe. One way is to video chat. So you could have a Zoom conversation or a FaceTime conversation or a Skype conversation with that person. You could use an app like Marco Polo and send little videos back and forth. If you're worried about privacy, of course, that's going to make it a little more difficult, particularly if you want to have explicit tech-related conversations. But there's some technology for distance connected sex tech. Like there's a phone app way to control a sex toy that your partner might have, for instance. You could Google around a little bit and see what you could find in the area of sex tech. I think that texting is a really good way to stay in touch. And while we might talk about specifically sexually explicit ways of staying in touch, I think you can be very, very creative about non-sexually explicit ways of staying connected. And then you can be self-sexual, and then you can talk about it or refer to it in ways that maintain your privacy and security in a tech-based platform pretty well. Like by coming up with euphemisms for intimate acts, for instance. So you could develop a way of doing an activity together or simultaneously while not actually being online while you do it. For instance, I'm going to start working out right now. Let's go, 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 you know? And then both of you are going to work out together, and maybe you're going to send some pictures back and forth during your workout, and then you're going to cheer each other on, and then after the fact, you're going to maybe sit down on Zoom and drink your smoothie together or something like that. And that kind of an arrangement can help you feel really emotionally connected in a pretty intimate way without you actually having to be in the same space doing the same thing together. You can be in separate spaces doing similar things together. And by the way, you could have sex in a similar way where you each are having a self-pleasure interaction, but you're relating to each other about it, and you know that each other are doing it. You can create a little psychic connection with your partner in that way that can be very connecting. I also think that you could start creating a way of having a private phone conversation, even if one or both of you are in crowded houses. Maybe you go for a walk and you have your private phone conversation while you're walking. And then you can have a more intimate connection than you could if you were worried that somebody else might be overhearing from the other side of the door. Obviously, you can't have a sexual interaction that way, but at least you can have emotional intimacy where you can have a phone conversation that meanders around in a natural way rather than feeling like you're inhibited by what somebody else might be thinking of the conversation that you're having. You can also use white noise outside of a closed door. So if you get yourself on one side of a closed door, and then put the white noise on the other side of the closed door, or put on some music in that other room. And you can also use a headset so that you can hear a little bit better, and so that the person on the other end can hear you a little bit better as well. So I'm hoping that you're getting creative about ways that you can connect and stay connected. It's a really, really difficult time, and I think that all of us need to feel connected, and finding ways to do that that work for all of us is so important, particularly if you're socially distanced from a partner. I also want to suggest that a video conference conversation can feel very intimate because you're actually face to face. Whereas if you visit one another and you have to socially distance, you might be looking away from each other, sitting 6 feet apart, and both, gazing off different directions so that you're not sharing a bubble of breath droplets. And there's a way in which that's really lovely because you're together and maybe you can kind of stretch out and touch feet or something. But there's some risk, of course, to any contact. And if you can learn how to connect well on video conference and really feel that eye-to-eye, face-to-face connection with your partner, that's going to be a real boon because it's a zero risk situation in terms of transmission of virus. Of course, it's not a zero risk situation in terms of transmission of digital information. So you have to weigh the risks and benefits there. But as you're weighing the risks and benefits, consider too the mental health benefit of that connection that you have to weigh with the risk of a breach of security of some kind. For many people, I think it would come out pretty clear that the tech risk is lower than the mental health risk of feeling disconnected from people who are an important part of your support system or social structure. All right, that's it for today. Stay safe, stay sane, stay connected. And in my next video, I'm going to talk about staying sane when you're maybe getting a little too much connection with the people in your home. All right, take care.